Welcome to TV Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Michael McIntyre, Macnificent, Review, a gift for alchemizing everyday absurdities into comedy gold. Joe Mazzulla's Celtics learning from Manchester City's selflessness. How Lily Sullivan descended into madness, on screen and off. Disney stock still trying to understand Bob Iger's return. Friday briefing, Israel says tanks briefly entered Gaza. Michael McIntyre, Macnificent, Review, a gift for alchemizing everyday absurdities into comedy gold. Telegraph. Michael McIntyre's latest touring show, Macnificent, showcases his career before he steps on stage. McIntyre is a purist when it comes to comedy, sticking to stand-up and not branching out into other mediums like sitcoms or podcasts. His comedic style involves taking universally recognized experiences or objects and dissecting them in a methodical manner. While some of his routines can be formulaic, McIntyre shines when he taps into relatable experiences, such as the pandemic, and finds humor in the everyday. Macnificent is a warm and satisfying portion of comic nuggets, with a wickedly funny climax involving McIntyre's experience with COVID. Joe Mazzulla's Celtics learning from Manchester City's selflessness. Yahoo! Boston Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla has been using game film of English Premier League team Manchester City to teach his team about selflessness and teamwork. Mazzulla has been studying soccer to find new ideas and concepts that can be applied to basketball, and believes that the Celtics can learn a lot from Manchester City's style of play. Mazzulla has also been watching film sessions with Italian Serie A team Atlanta to further his knowledge of team dynamics. He believes that elite-level teamwork is translatable across all team activities and hopes that the Celtics can adopt a similar mindset to Manchester City in order to succeed. How Lily Sullivan descended into madness, on screen and off. The Sydney Morning Herald. Lily Sullivan, the star of new film Monolith, has described the experience of being the sole actor on screen for the 94-minute film as a descent into madness. Directed by Matt Vesely, the film follows a disgraced journalist trying to resurrect her career with a podcast about strange black objects that appear to contain hidden messages. Sullivan said the film was a one-woman show and that she approached it as though she were performing in a play. She said the isolation and extended shoots of 12 hours a day left her feeling as though she was making sounds alone the whole time. The film was shot in chronological order, which led to insanity because of the characters' descent into hysteria and mania. Sullivan is currently starring in Hollywood film Evil Dead Rise but is unable to discuss it because of the ongoing strike. Disney stock still trying to understand Bob Iger's return. Yahoo! Disney stock has fallen by more than 50% in the past 2 years due to various uncertainties, including the departure of former CEO Bob Chapek and the restructuring of streaming and linear TV assets. The future of the company is uncertain under CEO Bob Iger's renewed tenure. Friday briefing, Israel says tanks briefly entered Gaza. New York Times. The Israeli military has sent tanks into the northern Gaza Strip as part of preparations for a ground invasion of the enclave. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu indicated that Israel was likely to carry out a ground invasion of Gaza, stating, "When we enter Gaza, we'll make Hamas pay the price for its attack." Israel has struck more than 7,000 targets inside Gaza since the conflict began. As of yesterday morning, only 74 trucks carrying humanitarian supplies had entered Gaza since Saturday, far short of the figure of at least 100 a day that the UN said the enclave needs. UN officials and diplomats attribute the delay partly to Israel's demands to inspect the trucks at a checkpoint about 25 miles from the entry point to Gaza from Egypt. The UN General Assembly is expected to vote on a resolution calling for a ceasefire. The resolution would not be binding, but it would reflect a wider global view than that of the Security Council, which has been deeply divided on a response to the war. Movie review, Pain Hustlers tells a sadly familiar story with a kitchen sink style. The Toronto Star. The review of the new Netflix film Pain Hustlers criticizes the movie for being slick and breezy in its portrayal of the opioid crisis. The film was inspired by real-life events but invents its own company and characters. The review suggests that the filmmakers went out of their way to make the protagonist likable and to find excuses for her actions, while failing to explore certain characters fully. The film has been criticized for not bringing anything new to the table and for failing to strike the right balance between different styles. Queen tells Princess Diana's ghost she turned this house upside down in new Crown trailer. Telegraph. The trailer for the 6th and final series of The Crown reveals that it will focus on the events leading up to the fatal Paris car crash involving Princess Diana in August 1997 and the immediate aftermath. The trailer shows Diana getting into her car surrounded by paparazzi before the vehicle speeds towards the Alma Tunnel, pursued by photographers. The trailer also depicts Diana's ghost speaking to Queen Elizabeth II and the public outpouring of grief and anger over the Queen's decision to remain in Scotland with Princes William and Harry following the accident. Former HealthSun exec accused of Medicare fraud resulting in $53 million overpayment. Reuters. A former executive of Florida health insurance company HealthSun Health Plans Inc. has been charged with orchestrating a scheme that resulted in the federal government being overbilled by $53 million. Kenya Valle Boza, who served as director of Medicare Risk Adjustment Analytics at HealthSun, allegedly fraudulently told the government that beneficiaries of HealthSun Medicare Advantage plans had chronic conditions that they did not have. This allowed the company to receive larger reimbursements from the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. HealthSun itself was not charged and has agreed to return the overpayments to CMS. Brink shows early connection with Farabee, someone he can try to emulate. Yahoo! Joel Farabee is mentoring Bobby Brink, someone he can emulate and has helped care for before. The two have played well together on the same line with Noah Cates. All three have been doing well and the line has been the Flyers' best offensive line, per coach John Tortorella. Farabee has more experience and has helped look after younger players in the past. Brink is still living in a hotel and the Flyers are keeping a close eye on him and the other prospects. A tense fight for free press at an Indigenous paper. The Guardian. Bad Press, a documentary by Rebecca Lansbury Baker and Joe Peeler, highlights the lack of freedom of the press on Native American reservations. The film focuses on Muskogee Media, a Muskogee Creek Nation news outlet in Oklahoma, where the only media outlet was taken over by tribal authorities in 2018. Tribes' rights to self-determination allow them to create their own laws and constitutions, which threatens the freedom of the press. Angel Ellis, a journalist featured in the film, points out that only 5 out of 574 federally recognized Native American tribes have laws guaranteeing a free press. The movie follows Ellis as she campaigns for a constitutional amendment to protect the press and explores the complications and everyday work of local politics and journalism. The film highlights the history of Indigenous journalism and its role in holding tribal governments accountable. Lansbury Baker argues that Indigenous communities need more than just positive press coverage, they require the truth so they can hold their governments accountable. The documentary is set to be released in Los Angeles on October 21, with a UK release date to be confirmed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your resident observer from the Sixth Dimension world, Dr. Six. Today, we have quite an eclectic mix of news to discuss. Let's start with Michael McIntyre, the master of turning everyday absurdities into comedy gold. His latest show, Macnificent, is a pure delight, showcasing his talent for finding humor in universally recognized experiences. From dissecting the pandemic to sharing his own experience with COVID, McIntyre's comedic style is relatable and hilarious. So, if you're in need of a good laugh, Macnificent is the perfect remedy. In the world of sports, Boston Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla is taking inspiration from an unexpected source, English Premier League team Manchester City. By studying their selflessness and teamwork, Mazzulla hopes to bring a similar mindset to his basketball team. Who knew that soccer could teach basketball a thing or two? Now, let's dive into the world of film. Lily Sullivan's performance in the new film Monolith is nothing short of extraordinary. She describes the experience as a descent into madness, as she was the sole actor on screen for the entire 94 minutes. Talk about dedication. It's incredible how an actor can bring a character to life in such a solitary environment. On a different note, Disney stock is still trying to understand Bob Iger's return. With the company's uncertain future and various changes in leadership, it's no wonder the stock has taken a hit. Perhaps they need a little bit of Disney magic to turn things around. In more serious news, tensions continue to rise in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Tanks have been sent into the northern Gaza Strip as Israel prepares for a possible ground invasion. The situation is dire, with a shortage of humanitarian supplies reaching Gaza. The UN General Assembly is expected to vote on a resolution for a ceasefire, but the path to peace remains uncertain. Shifting gears to the world of movies, the review of Pain Hustlers highlights its failure to strike the right balance in portraying the opioid crisis. While the film draws inspiration from real-life events, it falls short in exploring certain characters fully and bringing new perspectives to the table. Sometimes, even the most important stories need to be told in the right way. Now, let's talk about a trailer that's making waves, the final series of The Crown. This time, the focus is on the events leading up to Princess Diana's tragic death and the aftermath. The trailer gives us a glimpse into the haunting moments before the car crash and the public's reaction. It's a story that continues to captivate audiences around the world. In a shocking case of fraud, a former executive of HealthSun Health Plans Inc. has been charged with overbilling the federal government by $53 million. It's disheartening to see individuals taking advantage of the system for personal gain. Let's hope justice is served, and steps are taken to prevent such incidents in the future. Lastly, we have a documentary called Bad Press, shedding light on the lack of press freedom on Native American reservations. The film focuses on Muskok Media, a news outlet in Oklahoma, and explores the challenges faced in holding tribal governments accountable. It's a powerful reminder of the importance of a free press in any society. That wraps up our news for today. Now, I turn to you, my dear viewers. What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any questions or insights you'd like to share? The floor is yours, so let's delve into a lively discussion. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.